my little flip phone. I'll call you and you call me and that's it. And I ain't no telephone number.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Both Sides with DJ
and Hanee
podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. Yeah.
Oh.
It feels like it's been a long time.
It feels like it, right?
Since we've gone to Dominican Republic and been back now.
We're happy to be back.
Apologize again for the skipping that week, but we are back nonetheless. Both Sides with DJ and Hanee podcast. We're going to jump right into it. Hope you guys enjoyed the videos and all those things we've put up.
And our new apparel.
And the new apparel as well.
Yes.
I hope you guys, well, I know I did, enjoyed my slow motion honey. Looking very, very, very snackish. But I should have kept that one to myself.
Thank you, babes.
No problem. The Oscars last weekend has passed, ladies and gentlemen. And it was a bunch of familiar faces that we all know, of course, and we should all be proud of course, because we are starting to become more familiarized and more noticed for our hard work and efforts and acting and so forth. Go ahead, give them the winners that we are on notice.
So, of course, we should start with Miss Regina King. She won for Best Supporting Actress in If Beale Street Could Talk.
Yes, which was a great movie.
Yeah, we did see that.
We watched that.
And we encourage people to watch it, too.
Yeah, it was a good movie, you guys.
The second one
took place in New York.
Yeah, that's right. The second one was Mahershala Ali.
Good job.
And that one for Best Picture also, which is The Green Book.
Yes.
And he won for Best Supporting Actor.
I thought that movie was amazing. I loved that movie.
I loved it's really much not to say about that, but it was a great,
he's racking up.
Yeah,
he's coming up really,
it was good. I'm speechless because he deserved it. He really deserved it.
He was amazing in that movie. He played
You definitely should go see it.
Awesome pianist.
Yeah, it was
pianist.
Right. Who else?
Spike Lee.
Spike Lee. They won for Black Klansman, Best Adapted Screenplay, and it was a team of them. It was Spike Lee. Then you had Kevin Wilmot. You had Charlie Watchell and David Rainbow. Okay. So they won as a team. So that was really nice.
We know Spike Lee.
Yeah, right. And then
great movie. We talked about that earlier in the season.
A couple episodes.
Yeah, a couple. We had like 18 now.
I know. It just feels like
it was a way back, but we did talk about Black Klansman. It was a good movie. We'll talk about If Beale Street Could Talk and Green Book another day as well. We have an action-packed show for you guys as well. So,
it's a lot happening.
So if you guys hear us speeding through this stuff, it's because we got a lot in store. Go ahead, baby.
And last but not least, we had Black Panther, which won for original score. Ruth Carter won for Best Costume Design. And
well deserved.
Yes. And Jay Hart and Hannah Bleacher won for Best Production Design. So it was really nice to see, that we are making some type of progress in the Oscars. It was
still
nice.
Deserve more.
So,
a lot more.
But
But a nice way to seal off Black History Month.
Yeah.
Nice. With good news always comes bad. First and foremost, we reported this. We posted this on Instagram about Jussie Smollett when he first reported the hate crime being committed against him, which we all know now is false. Something we learned to not always jump to the defense of, especially in the media and us being where we are and stuff and not knowing what we know and stuff like that. But shame on Jussie.
Right.
Very shame, but those things do happen.
Yeah.
And you still want to acknowledge the real hate crimes that happen.
And decided to use it as a platform. I don't know what it was for, but
he said he wanted more money from Empire.
What was that supposed to do?
I don't know.
Like I said, I don't know what that's for because that was not. That's
make
not
him more of a hotter commodity, I guess, because it happened in Chicago, and I'm tired of people calling and I'm about to call them the brothers too because I can't even pronounce their name, and I've looked it up too. The brothers, they call them the brothers, African American kids, who were paid by Jussie to attack him allegedly to stage an attack against him to I guess coerce more money from Empire to make himself a more hotter commodity. Turned himself in, so he's gonna be, I guess, on trial or whatever.
And honestly, I think in a way he should.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
you took it to extreme. When you said news, it changed everything.
Yeah,
that
and
was
the MAGA
extreme.
hats and all those things.
That was a little bit much.
Shame on him. So it was a weekend of award winning and a weekend of lockups.
For some more reason, I'm not.
They got
laughing.
R. Kelly finally.
Of all, it took this to say that. Come on now.
They finally got Kells.
Well, he got 10 counts of aggravated assault, and he's going. I guess they're gonna put it for trial.
Hopefully, they get him this time, ladies and gentlemen. That is true news. Another person who's on cuffs, and guys, we cover sports, and we're gonna transition right into sports right after this. Robert Kraft.
Oh man.
The owner of the New England Patriots
got caught with prostitution.
Yes.
They charged him with 2 counts of first-degree soliciting in Florida. That's what
he's
happened.
not gonna do any time.
He's not.
And people pay for sex. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he just got caught. He just got caught. In all due reality,
the lady probably put him on speed because of the fact he probably gave $100.
Yeah, they said it was 100 going in, 100 going out.
Yeah, he could have given a little bit more for
I guess,
that.
yeah. So they caught him. He's caught. Yeah. A bunch of other people were caught as well. It wasn't just him. So it was the weekend of lockups. They got R. Kelly, Robert Kraft, and Jussie Smollett and a bunch of memes handcuffed together over the last weekend. But nonetheless, it's a new weekend.
It is. As always.
As always, we always do cover sports. That's where we at, baby.
Yes.
So right now,
boy.
Your Steelers,
team.
my Steelers,
team.
as you guys can see, I always have my little emblem above us on both sides set. And AB and Le'Veon Bell is basically gone. They're gonna be on different teams at the start of the season, and we thought of some teams we might think they can fit in or it would look good. These aren't teams that we've heard that we just thought of some teams. This has been going on for some time. We both know these guys are going to be going for some weeks now. So, you go ahead, AB. Where you see
Okay,
AB?
Don't make fun of me.
Okay.
I'm going to say Seahawks.
The Seahawks?
Yes.
With Russell Wilson?
Yes.
That's not bad. Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin. See, I don't. Yeah, it looks and sounds good. But it's just that offense is just so shifty. One year they're like a passing offense.
Well,
then
maybe
the next year they're a running team. And then Russell Wilson's the best when they're a running team. And then, if AB don't get the ball, who knows how he's going to act. So, I mean, though I think it's a good fit, I don't know if that could work out like more than a season.
Maybe they may stay at the Steelers.
I would like to see Antonio Brown. And Steeler fans are going to be upset with me with this one. I have the Cleveland Browns. See what happens when you let me talk? I have the Cleveland Browns.
I could see that.
With Baker Mayfield. I know Baker Mayfield is young, but I feel like he can catch on pretty quick. And
adaptation.
He and AB can have a nice rapport together. Another team I wrote down for AB, New Orleans Saints. I don't know if anybody or any of these teams have cap room for AB's contract or anything like that, but I feel like Drew Brees last year or maybe 2 years, get that extra help wide receiver, get that second guy to Michael Thomas, or they could be both number ones, whatever you want to do, and just let him rip for the last year. You got 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, star studs. So those are the teams I wrote for AB. Le'Veon Bell. I have, or I would like to see Le'Veon on the Eagles, possibly with Carson Wentz, because Nick Foles is going to be a free agent.
I was about to say, wait a minute.
Nick Foles is going to be a free agent.
Right.
They're not going to franchise tag him this year, so he's going to be a free agent. So Le'Veon on the Eagles or Le'Veon on the Packers with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a vet. Le'Veon's a vet. They both are threats. You don't know whether to protect the pass or the run. That's going to be crazy.
Le'Veon, I don't know. I had a hard decision to make on that one because I still see him like he's gonna be. Is he gonna reflect on the team as a bad influence in the sense of like his?
He's never been really a bad
I
influence
know,
on the
but this
team.
whole
I think
way that he handles
Antonio.
things.
Well, what with sitting out with the contract? It's money.
I know, but
And the way the way the NFL treat running backs, or the way the contracts treat running backs, he had to preserve his body for his money. Whether if he got injured this year, he would have never got anything. So at the end of the day, if he doesn't get what he was supposed to get last year that he sat out or whatever, at least he secured his body for another run, or maybe rejuvenated himself so he can go, full force. Hopefully he's healthy and stayed in shape and stuff. But that's what you got to do. Business, right?
yeah,
Just like the
when it
NFL would
boils
tell
down
our
to
players,
it's
it's a
always
business.
You're right.
So what teams did you have lately?
I only have one,
What?
San Francisco.
San Fran.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo, if he could stay healthy, that's not a bad team.
It's not.
That's
They need
not
help.
bad.
And
Yeah,
I think
they
he
need
can-
a running game.
he
They need
can-
a steady running game.
He has that.
Yeah, he can do that. And Jimmy Garoppolo will be protected more with a running back like Le'Veon. I can see that. Even though AB said he want to go to San Francisco, he want to go play with Garoppolo. I think AB just want to be
just
close
talking
to
right now, yeah.
He
He's
want to
just
be.
talking
I
right
think
now.
he wants to go to California, somewhere close where he's in Hollywood. He wants to be a star. He
He's
don't.
flashy.
Yeah, he is.
He
So that's the NFL right now. It's the off season. We've been watching a lot of college basketball lately, of course, with Zion Williamson's injury and March Madness coming.
Right.
Zion has been out last 3 games.
3 games.
They've lost 2 of those 3 games against North Carolina and Virginia Tech.
Question: do you think it was a sneaker or just a fluke?
What do you mean?
Like it just happened. Like remember when
doesn't-
the first game I was like, oh, it was a sneaker for.
No, I
and
mean,
then-
it just happened. They said he wear those sneakers plenty of times. I mean, at the end of the day, they say he's okay. So I'm not going to blame the sneaker. He's going to get a pair of new shoes. He'll be all right. I just don't know if you're going to see him play college basketball again. That's all.
I don't think he should. If it jeopardizing him in the draft, I don't think he should.
Well, he got some decision to make. Protect your money. Protect yourself.
You have to
your
protect
injury.
at the end. And that's
See, how could you say that for Zion and not Le'Veon?
Because I think it became a tantrum with him. The way he I mean, I understand at the end of the day, I don't fault anybody for going whichever way they choose to get their money. You deserve whatever you deserve. But it became too much focus on the way he was acting. I didn't think it was like sportsmanship.
I guess what you're saying, like with the things he was doing while he wasn't playing.
Yeah, it was like it was not sportsman, and it caused an effect on the team as a whole. I think that was a little bit too much.
Okay. Other college news. I hope everybody is, well, not hope, but by now, if you haven't heard, Coach Jim Boeheim from Syracuse, on a snowy night, struck and killed someone with his vehicle.
George Jimenez.
Yes, with his vehicle. So thoughts and prayers go out to the family and stuff. We don't want to talk about it, but it is news.
Yeah.
So forth. So we'll see how that affects the team or his coaching. Yeah, stuff like that.
It's tough.
It's tough to things that's out of control and weather related and he wasn't inebriated or anything like that. So those tragic things happen and you don't want to see it happen. Exactly. Next, Ole Miss.
The
a
kneeling.
school that took a stand against hate crimes.
Yeah, during the anthem.
Or hate groups in the area of their school. Took a kneel in the beginning of a basketball game during the national anthem.
And had every right.
And had every right to do so because, of course, they were kneeling for a bigger cause. It wasn't to disrespect the flag or anything like that.
They got tired. They got tired of like these Confederate groups coming on their campus. All these hate groups. It's just come. Well, the previous one was a pro-Confederate group, and then in particular, it was like overall they just have a lot of hate groups coming on the campus, and they're promoting it, and they don't want to hear it no more. And I don't. How do you work that though? Because it's freedom of speech. It's a group. It's not like, I understand it's a touchy situation, but I don't think they should allow it. In my opinion.
Super kudos to those Ole Miss students
Yeah.
that took that kneel. Hopefully, Michael Cohen has the president busy enough so he doesn't hijack that. In basketball, we have the Lakers and the way they're just not reaching the playoffs, and the way Boston is sinking from the first half of the seeding in the East.
The Lakers, it was already put out there. Don't expect them to get to the playoffs. Like
LeBron missed like 17 games though.
Yeah, but now everybody's like, oh, they should go, and like everybody's getting hyped.
They talking about LeBron should sit out for the rest of the season. The season was a wash, and no, I didn't expect them to go crazy. It was nice and exciting in the beginning. LeBron in a new uniform, that's always cool, but you didn't expect them to do anything. And if they do make the playoffs, they'll be the AFC playing Golden State and get
It ain't happening.
Smacked up like they never. It'll be worse than when he was in Cleveland, and I'm telling you that now. The Celtics, they seem to be going in another direction.
Kyrie, I feel your pain.
What pain? Like, he got a bunch of talented dudes on the team, and
but
he just not.
It's the chemistry. It's something with the chemistry.
I think, I hate, like, Kyrie's my favorite player, but I think when Kyrie doesn't want something, he carries a karma that affects people, like an aura that affects people around him.
Overall, it'd be a negative aura. Yeah. Not saying that he's a negative person, but
the whole fact of his free agency and stuff coming up, that's creating a bad aura around the team, especially the way he's talking to everybody in the media. And you see him on ESPN just being, nonchalant about certain things, and go ask the coach and those type of things he's saying. So that's putting an aura. Then you got his teammates saying that they're not a team, and that is they're gonna get bumped out probably the first round just because they're not playing together.
Do you consider them broken?
That team, not yet. No, they got time. Okay. They got like more than 20 games. They got time. Oh, okay. They're not broken.
Okay. Just checking.
But they gotta. Kyrie's out of there though. He's going. He's going up out of there.
He promised to be back, but I don't know.
He's going up out of there. This is a special show, everybody. We got a guest coming on.
Yes.
Well, it's always a special show. It's even more special when we have a guest.
Yes.
Baby, why you think
I'm amped. I don't know why, because we're back, and I don't know.
But you ain't gotta sing alto while I sing tenor. Can I talk? Okay. We have a special guest. Madam CFO's very own Nicole Dortch will be joining us after this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, after this, she'll be joining us. You want to say something? Go ahead. He looks so amped. Go ahead. No, talk. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm just happy. No, now that you said it
like
that. No, I'm done. You put me in the spot like
Next,
that.
Nicole will be joining us talking about being a life coach, how to handle your finances in a time like this, and her journey basically to Madam CFO and all the positions and her accolades and achievements that she is bringing to the table is good, ladies and gentlemen. You guys may want to, very well tune in.
Get your pens.
Get your pens and paper ready. Mm-hmm. If you guys are looking on ways to save, or you want to take some information, you guys are going to hear this. Nicole Dortch will be joining us next. This is Both Sides with DJ
and Hanee.
Podcast. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Both Sides, ladies and gentlemen, with DJ
and Hanee
Podcast. We have our guest, as promised, Madam CFO, Nicole Dortch.
Hey, everybody.
Is on the line with us. How you doing, Nicole?
I'm doing good. And you?
Thanks for coming on our podcast. We are doing well.
We good now that you're on. First and foremost, we want to let everybody know that social media is a hard game, and getting supporters is even harder. And Nicole was actually the first person, or one of the first, to like our page or follow us. So first and foremost, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
We're going to be forever grateful. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. You guys are listening. Hey, I'm all here. Like I said, all support. It's all love.
Thank you.
So, Nicole, can you give us a little background history about yourself?
Sure. Where do I start? 1982. No, I'm not going to start there. Where
you from, girl?
So,
let them know.
I am from Washington, D.C. And so a little bit about me and kind of my history and kind of where I got started with Madam CFO. So I want to say this was 2017. I actually hit the final level in my career, and I work in finance, and I work for the federal government here. And so I became a chief financial officer for one of the top agencies in the Department of Defense. And with that role being the first youngest African American woman in that position, I endured a lot. And I just said from that, I kind of built up Madam CFO. Actually, the name Madam CFO came from my staff, because I was on Capitol Hill pretty much every day in a lot of congressional meetings. And the running joke was, Nicole's on the move because you hear her heels, because I walk so hard in the office. Because literally, I think I need like a segue because I was just moving and grooving at work. But no, my career in finance originally started in, I want to say, 2005. So I graduated from Norfolk State with a bachelor's in psychology. And realized very quickly that I did not want a master's in psychology because, one, I didn't feel like writing any more papers, and two, I am only 5 feet, 5'0". So working in a mental institution is not for me in my height. Right, I'm only 5'0", 125. Don't I can't. Nope. Seen a Sixth Sense, said it's not for me. So I decided to change my major once I graduated in 2004. And I went and got my master's in public administration with a concentration in finance, and kind of just pretty much started my career. I had been with DOD while I was in undergrad, so I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I knew I didn't want to go into the military, but I wanted to support the many men and women that do fight for this country. And so that's how I navigated with DOD. So long story short, getting back to that achievement level in my career as a chief financial officer at the age of 35. Yeah, I'll be 37 this year. So I just decided, like, okay, I need to step down from this position and really focus on the community. And that's what I'm doing with Madam CFO, is getting out there teaching women. Do take some men clients, but definitely teaching women just the basic foundations of personal financial management.
Was there like a situation that just made you say, okay, I want to empower women on their finances? Like, was there anything personal?
Oh, heck yeah.
Something you saw?
Yeah.
Was just like...
Oh yeah. Yes, definitely. I was in a relationship and I just said I had enough. I had enough of him and I had enough of just giving out free information. And I just said, you know what? From the birth of that came the business. But I think the pivotal moment for me was when 45 got into office. Because and mind you, before I started the business, I was giving out free financial information, but of course nobody listens, right? And so when 45 became president, I kept telling everybody, like, don't worry about Trump. What you need to do for the next 4 years is get your financials in order, because we don't know what's getting ready to happen. I have my own little charts, my own little predictions. I watch the financial news and everything else. And so as I was giving out free information, the furlough happened here in DC, and most people know about it, around this country. And it was just a shocker to see how I warned a lot of people. Like, listen, don't spend your money during Christmas. There, the new fiscal year is coming up. There are a lot of uncertainties that may happen. And once the furlough happened, everybody who I warned, either set themselves up financially and went on vacation, or those who just didn't listen was stuck in that paycheck to paycheck. And so I was just like, you know what, this is ridiculous. So when I do my workshops are not free anymore, because you could have gotten all the free information I was giving prior to me starting the business. Now you got to pay for it, because if you really want to be serious about your finances, and what I find, if you're really serious, it's going to cost you.
I was going to ask you, like, how often are your workshops? Or I was going to ask, are they like seminars? Like, how do you go about getting your groups together?
And is it also in the DC area district, or like, is there ways people can call in?
Yes. Okay. So the workshops, which is like a 2-hour kind of hands-on session, that is every other month. And then there is a personal financial management class. So what that does in the class, I mean, in the workshop, let me step back. In the workshop, you're basically getting a preview of what the class is, right? So you get a chance to take away some valuable information. It empowers you to kind of really open your eyes, because that's what I'm doing in that workshop. I'm really opening your eyes to translate what you see in the news that most people, common knowledge, just would not understand. So I'm opening your eyes and I'm opening your mind. And if you really want to do a deep dive into where you are financially and kind of how to create that plan and kind of do it in a private setting or in a group setting, then that's when the classes come. And the classes are 4 weeks. So those are accelerated courses. But I do offer coaching memberships where I tell people it's like going to the gym. You're lifting a weight. I'm telling you exactly how to do everything. And then I also offer coaching packages where you and I are both doing the heavy lifting and trying to get your financial plan and trying to get your finances in order. And what I tell people is I don't use any new techniques. I use all of the old techniques, because when you're dealing with money, all your old techniques work. It's nice to have apps and everything else, but it's like math. Yes, adding by a calculator is very easy, but when you do it by hand, now it becomes difficult. So learn the difficult way before you implement a new way. And then to answer your question, is it in the DC area? Yes, it is in the DC area. However, I have plans to kind of branch out into the different cities. I don't necessarily want to offer it online, because what I find is that when you deal with someone in money, they need to be able to touch you.
Hands on, right?
Yeah.
It's
and
money.
That's you. And when you're talking about somebody's finances, you got to really build trust. So I can't really build trust with you via the internet. And to me, it's not as personable. And like I said, I've been in my career for about 17 years. And what I find is that when you're dealing with money, people want to see you face to face and know that you're a real person. Yes, we may talk on the phone.
Not like dealing with a robot.
Right. Yes, we may talk on the phone. We may do video chat, but I got to know that you feel me. And because money is a very sensitive topic. So,
to everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yes, to everyone. It's a very, I don't care if you got a dollar in your account or you got a million. It's still a sensitive topic.
Now, as far as averagely, when you grow up, you hear from your parents, you should start saving now and worrying about your finances. You being a life coach and going through all the situations, especially having a major in finance, what do you tell people as to how should they start preparing? Because, at certain ages, especially at 25, we go through the situation of we got money, we got a job, but we're always spending. Mm-hmm. When should people start to realize the future is now, and you need to build on it in order to succeed wherever you want to head into?
To better answer that, I'm going to give the same example of when I got started with money, which was in elementary school. So my mom, before she became a teacher, she was a comptroller. And her thing was when we would go places, and I tell the same story in my workshop. Back then people were writing checks at the grocery store. So what my mother would do is she would make sure I bought my notepad and my pencil. And we would go to the grocery store together, and she said, your job is to add up everything that I put in the basket. Don't worry about the taxes or any of the fees, because, that's a different kind of lesson. But your total should match with the total that the cashier comes up with. And that was the first introduction of money. So if we start having these conversations early, and start getting your children involved at an early age, and the importance of savings, the importance of having a budget, understanding what are the things you have to spend money on, and just understanding, okay, gearing up to the age of 18, it could resolve a lot of the issues. But the thing about it is, we don't talk about money at home at all, because technically some of us are doing things with money that we're not supposed to, or either we're embarrassed or we don't want someone to know how much money we have. But those life skills have to be taught at an early age.
It definitely starts at the top with the parent. And I'm sure you get a lot of clients out of parents. And I'm sure you get a lot of, do you get a lot of like Black clients? I'm sorry to ask it so bluntly, but
majority of all of my clients are African American. Yes.
Okay. So that being said, so of course in today's society, a lot of those families, I'm sure, have kids or so forth. How do you prepare someone or any family who have children and, that's their first priority as far as, saving money and building and, towards their finances for the future? Because that becomes a bit of a hassle, because me being a parent myself, one day I have to pay for pictures, the next day I have to pay for the dentist, or you know what I'm saying? Those things come up.
Yeah. What I tell people is communication is key, right? You got to talk about things, and having, you are a parent, having your children involved to have them to understand, like, okay, one, money doesn't grow on trees, and mom and dad make this amount of money, and we have to make sure that we keep a roof over head. And the one thing I noticed that parents don't want to do is they don't want to stress children out about money. Right. And so we give them a false sense that everything is okay. But the reality is that we need to really communicate to say what we really need to do. What I tell people with parents, because I don't have children, but I do have older brother and sister, and they do have children. But I simply say, listen, when you bring a child into this world, please, by all means, make sure you do not bring them into a debt situation. But that's one of the things that we do, right? So we have kids, and then we're already in the debt. And then when the child gets here, we are further into debt. So we continue to dig that ditch further and further and further. And so as the child grows older, we have to rob Peter to pay Paul, clip coupons, say, no, I can't pay for pictures, or find, creative ways to get additional income, or work like a dog or work like a slave at your job to bring in more money. And then when your child graduate and turn 18, most of us, what we do, kick the child out the house and say, okay, you're on your own. But when we do that, they're starting from zero. And what I'm telling people is, not all cultures do that. I know some people, and one thing I'm very mindful of is comparison between the races. I don't like to do that. I like to compare cultures, right? And so one thing that we really need to do as a culture is to cultivate our children. So when you have children, it's no longer about you anymore. So that Gucci bag that you have just took $1,000 or $2,000 out your child's savings account, or your child's college education. And I compare. Right. I compare the two, and I say, okay, all right, yeah, you have the latest, this, you got the latest house, the latest car, everything else. Is your, right as of today, is your son or daughter's education paid for in cash? And if the answer is no, then you have to be ashamed of yourself as a parent. You cannot have all of these luxuries and not take care of the future of that child. That is unfair. It is unfair for you to have them to have to go out there and get student loans, because your counterparts are not doing that. Your counterparts are working to put money aside. So when they graduate, they're already 20, 50, 100, 200 millions of dollars ahead of your child. Your child has to start from zero. So don't give your child that same opportunity. But to sum it all up, you got to have the community. You got to have that talk. You got to have the talk about money, but don't talk to your child about money to the point that they say, well, I can't ask mom and dad because we're tight. No, what we have to do is look what's reasonable for this year. What's going on? So you can plan things out, and plans are meant to be broken, and that's understood. But what you have and what I teach in my class is risk management. And to understand that there has to be some cushion, because if you do fall, you just don't want to fall hard. You want to fall to the point that you can bounce back and still be good to go going forward.
I have a question now that you mentioned about the school prospect of, like, especially Black families investing and such. When I went to school, I don't know if they still do this. I don't know if you encourage people if this is a good idea. Is it good to still, like, even if you don't, to invest in like stocks or bonds? Like my parents, they didn't have help from their parents. Everybody, was still working. They had us at a young age. And when we were waiting for college, my mom actually worked for a bank that she invested in bonds. And as they matured, by the time I got to college, it wasn't enough, to be honest, because the university I went to was just too expensive. But we wound up taking out loans and still doing the bonds. What other sources can they use? Because of the fact some people don't qualify for like those particular things when it comes to those family issues of finances, where, yeah, you're right, you do dig yourself in, and then the child or you wind up paying whatever loans and such and so forth to get forward still.
Yes, and the bonds that you're talking about are the savings bonds. So yeah, nobody, nobody does save. People still do savings bonds, but they don't hold as much weight as they used to. But what you definitely now, and here's the one thing about it: when you sit down with a financial advisor, and a lot of times they go based upon your income. So if you already make, say you're making less than $50,000, you're not going to talk to a good financial advisor, right? You may go to your local bank, but that person not a financial advisor. That person is just working just like you. Now, I used to work for not a name but they abbreviated BOA bank, but they didn't equip us as financial managers who works on the desk side to say, okay, when you have someone who comes in, these are all the ways you can help them financially. No, it was you got to sell a checking, a savings, a credit card, a business account, and a mortgage. You got commission, so you have to sell these products. Anything else, if they don't make over a certain amount, we don't even want to talk to them, right? So that's how the bigger banks are. And that's why I said, a financial coach is a little bit different. So to answer your question, there's not a cookie cutter type program. What you will have to do is sit with someone to discuss what are my options, right? So yes, can you invest in EFTs, stocks? Yes, you can, but you want to do, if your whole sole goal is to invest in that and pay for your child's education, okay, setting up the proper account so you don't have any tax consequences and your child gets to pay for school, that's when you need a professional. If you don't have access to that and say, listen, I don't even make a whole lot. I'm barely bringing in enough. I'm paying enough just to keep the lights on, mortgage or rent and food and shelter. What are my other options? Okay, they mostly tell people, okay, well, scholarships and good grades. Okay, well, what happens if you don't have access to that? Then your last resort is the student loans, but let's talk about borrowing wisely. with student loans, right? You just don't want to borrow the whole kitchen sink, or maybe the school that you have in mind may not be financially sound. You may have to go to a community college and where it's cheaper and get a cheaper degree. That doesn't mean that you discounted your education. It just means that you have to take a different route. So everybody's financial path is not the same. And so that's the best way I can answer that, is to say you really will have to talk with a coach or talk with an advisor or have that access. And I think now that technology and Instagram is putting people out there, right? So now everything really is at your fingertips. All you have to do these days is just ask the internet. Now, I'm 36. Back when I was in undergrad, I had Netscape, and you know how limited that was. Like, you couldn't find nothing,
goodness.
right?
Oh
you
my
couldn't
goodness.
find nothing.
You would give up.
You were like, man.
You would just give up.
I mean, we had like AOL. AOL was limited.
Yeah.
Yahoo. It's like, oh,
Or
right? Now,
the sounds and everything.
Listen, that's why I kind of like clutch my pearls when people tell me they can't find stuff. I'm like, did you ask the internet? Did you ask Google? Because I guarantee you the answer is out there. You just ain't typing it on the keyboard. So
I have the issue with this one right here. When she asked me, "What's this? What's that?" I'm like, "You got a phone?
Google it.
Just type it in."
Right? Yeah. But that's the world. That's the world we're starting to live in, and that's why I say my methods is old in the old way, because what I don't want is you to get so comfortable with technology that you start thinking. There's still a person back behind running those machines. Yes, you can go out there and Google and type in, how to fly. It is something will pop up. But you still got to be able to make a sound, and good judgment calls. But, right, if you can research the latest pair of Jordans or new shoes is getting ready to come out, certainly you can do the same thing with your finances. No excuse.
This is true. You even making me overthink. I'm like, you know what? There's a couple of things I haven't Googled yet.
Yeah. Listen, I didn't get this far in my job without Google. Huh?
So your life, like you're coaching everybody through all these things. Who coach you?
Ooh, that's a very good question.
Yeah. Like who do you go to? Who got you over these hills? Who's got you, to being Madam CFO's very own?
Let me tell you, the people, because it's not a person, the people who have helped, my foundation first comes from my parents, right? Good, solid family structure and background. But career-wise and where I am today, the people that helped me get here are not the same color as me.
It happens. Hey,
right? They're not the same color as I. And it's more of these folks just took me underneath their wings and was like, let me show you this, because I was hungry, right? So when I started my job with the agency I was at around 2006, right? Because that's where most of my career history is consistent. When I started in 2006, I think I was making like $29,000, and I was just like, okay, this is not a job. This is a career. This is a career. I want to work in finance. This is a career. I went out there and said, okay, Google, what do I need to do to get to the next promotion, right? What do I need to have? What kind of certifications, what kind of education, everything. I Googled it, and I went to my supervisor and I said, hey, okay, I want to be able to go to the next level of my career. In order for me to do that, I got to take these classes. Can I have money to go to training? She was like, sure, go right ahead. Okay, took it. And so I went to training. I came back to work, and I didn't really have a job title. I was like a student then, intern. And so what I did was I went to everybody that was seasoned in their career. I went to everyone's desk and I simply said, what do you do? And they would simply show me, and I'll say, okay, if I do X, Y, and Z for you to help you make your job go faster for the day so you can spend hours doing something else, would you mind if I did that? Like, no, go ahead, Nicole. Oh, okay, great. And I will create things and I'll make things run efficient and fast. And what happened was people started to notice me. And so then I started to create a name for myself at work. So everyone knew that's the girl that knows how to get things done efficiently and effectively. She speaks well. She's very nice. She's always willing to help out. And so I started to make a name for myself at work. And so I want to say, like, every year I had a different job title because every year I was getting a promotion. And so I just networked like hell at work. And I kept my blinders on at work, which means that I didn't get involved in the office gossip. I didn't get involved in the office drama. I kept to myself. And I put in the necessary time. And so while I'm doing that, remember, somebody is always watching you. Mm-hmm. And I just made sure I kept that sunny disposition at work. And so people would see me and then I would start to ask questions. And then some people who were like getting ready to retire, I would sit down and I would listen to their conversations. And then I would ask a question and they're like, oh, Nicole, well, you know, it's X, Y, and Z. See, look at my account. You got to make sure you're doing this, this, and this. So they were comfortable because everyone knew me. And I can't tell people, yeah, you can try that approach, but it doesn't work for everybody. You have to find what works for you. So it's an even exchange. But like I said, and like I tell everybody, everyone that I learned everything from when it comes to money is not the same color as me.
Mm-hmm. That's not a bad thing. And to work hard and to just be noticed, period. It doesn't matter what color. No. That's your hard work. At the end of the day, you just want to be recognized for what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if those are and they're the people that's in charge and they're the ones who noticing what you do, that's just what it is.
And it's always good to know who your major players are. I always tell people that.
Exactly. Because the only way you're gonna make it to the top is knowing those guys.
Yeah, and you don't have to brown nose them because they already know that people suck up to them, and you don't, right? Don't do that. And even I'm at that position where I had people do that, and you just look at them like, yeah. And you move right along. Like, you don't brown nose. And I'm always giving out information. So I never, you have those people who have job security. So they don't want to tell you nothing, right? You got to learn on your own. No, I'm not that. I'm going to give you the answer. I never feel threatened by anyone else coming to me to ask a question about anything that relates to my job. I'm always going to give you the answer. I'm never threatened because I have confidence to know, one, probably you can't beat me, and then two, I really don't really care. And so, yeah.
Exactly. So you in the Chocolate City, you a Redskins fan?
Of course.
Yes.
I don't know if they call it chocolate anymore. It's like a swirl.
They don't. Hey, look, my family is from Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, yeah?
So we kind of old school, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of, yeah, so... You're a Redskins. She's a Redskins fan as well.
I'm an avid Redskins fan, no matter what's going on.
Her dad's a Redskins.
Yeah, they a little, they got their good times. They got their bad times.
We're in New York. Could you imagine what time we have with all our sports?
Listen, I lived in New York for 2 years.
And what happened?
What years were those?
That was from what happened. Yeah, I'll tell you about what happened. That was from 2014 to 2016. That's when I moved back home.
Okay. So you were there when the Super Bowl was there, I think.
Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Maybe. I know I was in.
Maybe.
Right, I probably wasn't paying attention.
Nothing really good has happened for my city in a while, so I'm looking for.
I mean, it's New York. Come on now. I mean, like, y'all need now. Yeah. Everybody goes to New York.
It's cold like everywhere else.
In New York, y'all don't need. Y'all stay New York, and that's it. No, but I enjoy every minute of living in New York. Actually, I was going to FIT.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about fashion. How involved are you still with the fashion? I seen you got the the blue blazer on, looking sharp. That
Oh,
looked
thank
nice.
you.
No problem.
So fashion was my first degree choice. But you know those guidance counselors that they give us in high school that don't really do their job, and all their whole point is to discourage you from what you really want to do. Well, I had one of those guidance counselors because you know you're in the 12th grade, you meet with your guidance counselor, you talk about SAT scores, ACT, and what you want to major in. And so I said I want to major in fashion design. And I kid you not, her exact words were, "You need to pick another major because you're not going to make any money." And
They won't say that to you now.
they don't even care. They right. They just doing time and attendance. So check a box. You here? But that was very discouraging for me, and I was just like, well, okay, let me go back to the drawing board. And I was like, okay, well, I like to help people. Why not psychology? Whatever. And so once I kind of like hit a plateau in my career, I said, okay, all right, I got my master's degree. My career is set. I'm just coasting. Like, what else do I want to do with my life? And so I said, you know what? Let me go back to my original dream I had was living in New York City, because this is like the 90s, right? So New York is it. You watching Living Single, Ghost Rider, my other, favorite. It was like a whole bunch of favorite shows that was based on New York. So I was like, oh man, I had family there. So I was like, oh, I want to live out my dream, go live in New York, and get into fashion. And so I did that, but after a while, I couldn't really do the back and forth a lot. And the fact that I was not willing to give up my nice, cushy salary for New York City to start from scratch.
Right.
Believe it or not, I worked in the fashion district.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, no, see, I'll be like, listen, I need my salary to be this. They're going to be like, well, you get this 25, 30 and go about your business.
I did, but I didn't. Like, my mom, she used to work for Michael Kors and Tracy Reese down in fashion district.
Okay.
So she got me like a job in the on 8th Avenue, pushing material from like a cutting factory to the designers and stuff like that, like pushing the carts at like 17, 18 years old through the streets of Manhattan. But I'll tell you one thing, I used to get tips crazy. Like I would get 2 tips from the same people a day. Like it was amazing. Like as a teenager, it was amazing.
Yeah, like that dream would have worked well in the 90s when things were a little more affordable.
Right.
Well, that was, not too far from then. That was not too far from
But
then.
right now in New York, what I've learned in New York is you cannot live in New York solo by yourself. I mean, you can, but however, you got to have a nice job to pay that rent. I paid
You'll
it.
be eating crackers and cheese.
Right, and I lived in Astoria. So I love my little apartment in Astoria, and then I moved out to Long Island and West Hempstead. I mean, I like those 2 little areas, but I was just like 25 for an apartment here and with no closet space.
Yeah. They building. That's all they're building now is just closets for you to live in.
Yeah, y'all can get out of
that.
They
charge you the arm and the leg.
You know what? One did. I kid you not, I don't know where I was, maybe Midtown. Went to go see one apartment, was like maybe 18 or $2,000, and walked in. It was like a little shoebox. I walked in, and all you do is like do about face, and you back out the door. And so I said, "Where's the bathroom?" He's like, "Oh, down the hall." I was like, "Oh no, sir." Who is paying this? Because
that's it.
Are you serious? It's like an office building. Like, how you turn an office building to a residential? Like, no, sir, not where I come from. This is not. And I couldn't get over the fact that you got to pay a realtor to find an apartment for what? I'm not paying that fee. No. So I love New York to death. Don't get me wrong. I still visit, but I was just like, okay, I can check the box off at my life when I'm about 70. I don't have any shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I moved to New York. I had a great time.
You did that.
I did it. And now it's time to come on back home where I got some space.
Right.
That's funny. So, DC, how do you have fun? Because I have friends that go to DC every year for Carnival. I'm big on Caribbean culture. My dad is Jamaican, so Like they've been trying to get me to go to DC Carnival. Have you seen it, or have you ever partake in any of those kind of things down there?
No.
Okay, I expected
no, cause you know, when you the boss, you can't be out there shaking your tail
that.
feather.
Yeah, you can't be out there.
Yeah,
right. You can't be out there.
and that's one.
But
that's one thing that kind of like I sacrificed was, you know, my personal social life for my career, right? And so while everyone else was going out partying, I was pretty much at work. And so now that I'm kind of like, okay, things are stable, I still want to have fun, but I'm not no, you're not, this is the world. Everybody wants to have you on live, a video. No. So,
yeah, you go to work that next day.
Right. And I'm called in security, you know, right. Like, you know, I don't want that, or I'm called on the carpet, because you got to remember, I'm still in my 30s, and I'm still in those early 30s, and everybody else around me at work who's at my level or level up are in their 60s and 50s and 70s. Yeah. You know, I look like a grandchild or one of their kids to them, so I can't really... Like, oh, Nicole, what you do on the weekend? Like, went to bed, went to sleep. I'm like, oh, but there's a picture of you over here in Carnival in the thong.
Check
like,
on
that's
Instagram.
No, right? No, that's why, like, even my personal page is not even underneath my real name. You cannot find me. You cannot find. This is the only page where you can find my real first and last name. Other than that, to find out, you know, how I look on the weekend and what I like to do for fun, that is underneath a pseudo name. No one would ever. You have to know somebody that knows me personally, or you have to come and ask me. And if you're at work and you're asking me that, I'm gonna tell you, I don't even know what that is. I don't have Instagram. What is that? Insta what? Facebook. What is that? I don't know what that is.
I try to tell my boys, I'm like, I can't go out and shake my tail feather no more. I'm doing a couples podcast. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, you better be shaking your tail feather with your significant other. You know?
Right. That's the only
be like, what's this? You like you having a real good time. Is that why you didn't answer the phone?
Post that on Instagram.
We be right there in the friend section. Or let me see, he done friend requested this person. Who is this? So, but yeah, you know, exactly. There's other ways to have fun. Right.
There is. People need to realize there are other ways.
Go. I do like traditional things, you know. It's other ways to have fun, but a lot of times, I may not be in the area having fun. So I definitely love to travel. You know, DC, I didn't see every part of it, and don't ask me clubs in this area because I don't know. I don't go. And then when I do go,
I wish I knew something to ask.
Right. When I do go, or if I suggest something, it's so old, I don't know if the building's still there or not. Or the crowd that I remember was there is no longer that same crowd, and it's everybody that may be younger than me. And I'd be like, oh no, I'm just gonna go to a nice little lounge and have a drink, and that's about it.
Right. So, if people like, let me just ask the question. What do you encourage, like, people reading self-help books? And if you do you have any self-help books that people could read to start into encouraging or ways of getting into the financial assistance that they need?
Yes, that's a good question. And as you said that, I can turn around because there's some books here. Because if you ask me, you know, to run off some, I'm gonna tell you I really don't know. But on the financial side, I mean, I love Susie Orman, right? I mean, that's my girl. She has really good books. There's another one that's called like "Girl, Get Your Money Straight." You know, there's another one like how to invest $50 to $5,000, or the most recent one that I read was "You're a Badass at Making Money." I think she has a couple of series of books that you're a badass. If you pick a self-help, and I always tell people when you do pick a self-help book, because I mean, I'm not going to promote anybody unless they plan on giving me a check. But if you do get a self-help book, get one that kind of speaks to you, right? But look at that person first. And so now, you know, we have access to how what people talk about online on the internet, and people show like little video clips, and look at those clips first before you invest in the book, because you got to be very careful of who speaks life into you, because those are seeds that's going to be planted into you, right? And so here in this area, I go to a church called like First Baptist Church of Glenarden, like, and Pastor Jenkins. Like, I really do like his deliverance of how he speaks to me spiritually. And so I go there to get spiritually fed. But you have to be very careful of who you read and who you kind of follow. You know, like, you know, you can go to Instagram and get the greatest advice, but that doesn't mean it applies to your life. You have to know what speaks to you. And if it doesn't grow you, just get rid of it. And as far as like financial books go, I mean, I think there's like a ton of them. You know, the library is the greatest, always has, even though people don't go as much as they should. You know, I'm an avid person of going in Barnes and Noble with my Amazon app and finding a book in there for cheap. I may just skim through the book and just say, okay, Amazon got it cheap, let me buy it. But it's all kinds of books out there that you can read. That the key thing is to pick up a book and read, or to like you guys have. You have a podcast. Listen to those podcasts. Listen to how, and it has to be positive, right? Because we live in a world where reality TV is life. And I have a no reality TV policy. I can't watch it anymore. I can't do Love and Hip Hop. I can't do Real Housewives. I can't do those shows anymore because they don't promote positive things that's going on in my life. And so that's why I say, whatever that you read or whoever that you listen to, if they're not sowing seeds of positive, like if you don't see a positive change, if you don't see positive results from it, then you don't need to watch it. Because like you notice, if you watch Love and Hip Hop, and don't get me wrong, I was watching it in the beginning, and then after a while I started noticing I was having issues in my relationship, like, you know, stuff Stevie J was doing. I think, wait a minute, wait, you know, now I'm angry all of a sudden. I don't know why, but because I let a negative show influence me. And you have to be, you know, you have to be a strong-minded individual to say, I'm not going to allow that in my house. So I don't watch no reality shows. I think most of the stuff that I do watch is like reruns anyway, because I already know what was going on during those time periods. But definitely have a book or have someone that feeds your soul. Have someone that feeds your mind, that feeds your body and feeds your emotions. And I'm a Virgo, and I'm all about harmony of all of my worlds. And so if I find that one of my worlds is not being fed, and whatever is being fed is not coming out in a positive way, then I have to stop and regroup and say, hey, that's not for me. So it's kind of hard for me to say, you know, okay, with this author, you know, it's this, or this. It's all about where you are in life. And you got to be able to, you know, like in psychology, the first thing we say is, in order for you to fix a problem, you have to identify that there's a problem. And so that's the first thing you got to do. You got to identify that I want to grow above where I am. Where do I go? The first thing is, like you say, go to the internet, pick up a book, but look through those books. Does it speak to you? You know, and you're very in tune with yourself. You know, it will, your body would tell you, your mind would tell you. So that would kind of be my answer. I mean, it's a lot of good books out there, but you just have to find what speaks to you.
Thank you.
So I don't want to get too personal. Do you have a family, any boyfriend, husband, or anything like that?
So I do have a special somebody.
So when you gonna get Sir CFO going off the ground? What you doing?
What you mean? Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Repeat that. Rewind that again. Say it again.
Sir CFO.
Sir.
That could be the male.
No.
I'm just trying to look out for the brothers.
Yeah, no.
I see Madam, and I'm just like, you know, we need a little
Sir
something. Right?
Sir CFO.
A little something. Yeah, you know.
No, I'd rather.
You gotta hurry up before I pass.
Yeah. No. Trademark is already pending, bro. I already got that locked. But
Okay.
no, in a relationship, you gotta have your individuality.
Right.
That's key because some of us get into relationships and we forget about our friends, forget that we used to go to dance and karate. And then next thing you know, we all about that person and that person making us happy and it causes conflicts. He is a very smart, intelligent businessman that I am very proud to know and to call as a special person in my life. But incorporating into the business, of course, you can have those business conversations and, hey, babe, what you think about this kind of thing? But, I'm good at financial management. I'm not good at what he does. He's an expert at what he does, but then I can come in and say, oh, you might want to change operations and do this, and this because maybe I have a project management background, but I don't know everything he does. So I'm not going to come in his lane and run his business. Just like he's not going to come in my lane and run my business. I'd be like, excuse me, sir, madam. When did you start doing this?
No, sir.
But of course you got, you bring referrals and that's always good. But no, you got to be able to respect each other's space and give that person and let them know like, hey, I had this before you. And if, this don't work out, I'm still going to have this after you. But no, yeah.
That's dope. Shout out to him. Last question before I get you out of here. How is DC reacting to Michael Cohen right now?
I'm sorry, who is that? Who?
Thank you for your time, Nicole Dortch.
You're welcome.
For joining Both Sides with DJ and Hanee podcast. It's been our pleasure for having you on. Everybody give it up for Nicole.
Yes, we are greatly appreciative.
I thank you guys and thank you so much. And this has been a great time.
Yes,
thank
you.
It really was.
Both Sides, y'all.
All right, have a good one.
Welcome back to Both Sides with DJ
and Hanee
podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
I like how the podcast thing on the end. Anyway, that was Nicole Dortch. I want to thank her again for stopping through or calling in, I should say, to Both Sides. Dropping some crazy knowledge. I hope you guys had your pens and papers out, getting everything you could. You guys should check her out on Instagram, Madam CFO. That's simple on Instagram. She has seminars if you guys are in the DC area, the DMV area. Right. Check her out. Hit her up. And go to her website. Her website is on her Instagram page as well.
It's great. It's great to have a woman empowered.
Yes, very
actually showing other women how to go
very
forward.
Sharp too. Very sharp. So appreciate her. Yes.
Love
First time meeting her, so it was a very great, great piece of content we got from her. So we're gonna just roll up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a nice, beautiful show. Nice welcome back show. Right. Thank you guys again for listening. We're gonna go and enjoy our weekend. We hope you guys do the same. What are we doing? Real quick. We're going DJ Eddie Nosatelli's
birthday.
Yes, party. Yes, we're gonna go to DJ Eddie Nosatelli's birthday party. Check that out. That's gonna be in Brooklyn this weekend. Yeah, we're gonna have a great time.
They party real
Shout out to him. Shout out to everybody who also always stopping through the show, showing love and all those things. This is Both Sides with DJ
and Hanee.
You guys stay blessed. Have a great weekend.
As always. Hey, you guys. We would like to give thanks to the various artists who contribute to all our episodes.
Have a happy Friday.
That's it? Okay, that's it.